Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano and the other members of the Cabinet, distinguished members of the Senate and the House of Representatives, AFP Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Ray Leonardo Guerrero, and Major Service Commanders, mga kasama ko sa mga gobyerno, mga kababayan. Today I leave for an official visit to Japan, my second visit to a country which the Philippines rightly considers a true friend. This trip, which has been planned for months, had to be put off because of developments in Marawi City. Japan was most understanding of the challenges that we faced back then, and we appreciate their timely assistance in addressing the threat of terrorism and violent extremism. Now that combat operations have been terminated, we are rebuilding Marawi to its former glory. From its ruins, Marawi shall once again rise as a center of moderation and tolerance in Muslim Mindanao. As we sustain these efforts, we have to act with other nations who share the same values and aspirations that we hold dear, and work together towards lasting peace, security, and stability. Certainly, Japan has always been with us in pursuing genuine peace in Mindanao and in the development of the entire nation. I therefore look forward to the meeting once again. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who I consider to be a true friend of the Philippines. I will convey to him the gratitude of our nation for Japan's steadfast and unprecedented support for our country, our people, and our government. I will discuss with him ways to significantly advance our already strong and strategic bilateral partnership, especially on matters involving socio-economic development, peace, and progress in Mindanao, and the build-up of modern infrastructures in our country. We will likewise discuss the advancement of the rule of law in relations between among nations to support greater stability and security in the region. In Tokyo, I will have an audience with His Majesty Emperor Akihito, and I will take this occasion to personally convey gratitude for Japan's friendship with the Philippines, which has grown stronger under His Majesty's reign. Our ties and friendship with Japan is most valued as we recognize our meaningful shared history. We will continue to be forward-looking in our relations. I also look forward to the meeting Japan's business and industry leaders in Tokyo. They have shown significant interest in our efforts to sustain our growth, and I will work towards securing the Japanese business community as a key partner in our country's development agenda. My second trip to Japan will seek to further strengthen existing partnerships and establish new ones, all with the aim of ensuring that these partnerships redound to the benefit of both our peoples. In the continuing narrative of Philippine-Japanese relations, we hope to see our milestones and accomplishments that secure our nation a better quality of life and a more promising shared partnership. Upon my return, as with my first trip to Japan, I hope to bring positive news on what transpired in this very important trip. Daghang salamat. No. We're quite late, but I can take about one questions only. One questions.
Yes, may we call on Von Aquino?
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. President. Sir, we'd just like to ask, what's the reason behind your decision to replace Yusek Abella, and why did you choose Congressman Roque?
The reason is my personal decision. I am not about to explain why I did it.
Why did you choose Congressman Roque, sir?
Well, again, my decision is mine only.
Okay. Sir, what's next for former Yusek Ernie Abella? Will he be given another position in the government?
I will answer you when he's there.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. So we only have time for
Another question. May bagyo pa naman sa Japan. Sige.
Mr. Takuro Iwahashi of Kyodo News, please.
Good evening, Tatai Digon.
Yes.
I am Iwahashi from Kyodo News. I have two questions.
Yes.
First, what are the key issues you will discuss with Prime Minister Abe, and what do you expect to achieve from this visit?
Yes, one is security of the regional threat and of the entire world. We have been in discussion together with the rest of peace-loving neighbors, and even had a chance to talk to Secretary Mattis. All was security, and probably the main agenda would really be how to deal with this problem if it gets worse. And the other side of it is trade, and maybe I would discuss with him the tariff of the so many things that we export to Japan. That would keep me busy for the rest of the day in my meeting with him. Okay?
And one more question. How do you regard Japan's emperor and empress, and why? And one more. What are your thoughts on your upcoming meeting with the emperor?
I suppose that I have to limit my mouth there, except maybe to bring the warm greetings of the Filipino nation, a grateful nation, to Japan, as a matter of fact. And actually, it's kind of a homage to see the emperor before he abdicates. One of the reasons was really that before he steps down, he wanted to see the leaders of the last time. I was not able to do it because his uncle died. And that is why I have to go back again. One of the reasons also. Okay?
Maraming salamat po.
Ganda ng Tagalog, taga-Bulacan ka. By the way, meet the new spokesman ng Malacanang, presidential spokesman. He will carry my word to the public. And he's very competent, able, lahat na. It's in the messaging, actually. We cannot speak with the same words altogether, but how he would convey that message from me would be most important. I trust that he'd be able to come up to the expectations. Questions?
Dana Batnag of GG Press. And thank you, Mr. President, for this honor.
Good evening, sir. I'd like to ask what assistance the Japanese government can give to the Philippines with regards your efforts against terrorism and Islamic extremism. And the second question is about the peace process in Mindanao. As you mentioned, the Japanese government is very supportive of the peace process. So what is the update about the BBL? Is it something that can be passed by next year? And can you update us on where the peace process is now?
You know, this thing about terrorism and extremism occupies a lot of space during our talks with everybody, especially world leaders. We are all committed to destroy this ideology which knows nothing except to destroy and kill. But more than that, Japan has advanced the news that they will help in rebuilding Marawi. So with China, papunta na dito yung equipments nila. And I have something for you about money and the things that would go, but I have to talk to the cabinet first. That would be maybe Monday. When I come back, I have to seek clearance also. The concurrence of the Senate, if it's, but I will make an important announcement through the presidential spokesman to Secretary Roque.
Sir, about the BBL?
The what?
The BBL po, sir.
Yes, we continue to talk. And I hope that Congress could expedite its approval. I have committed to the main rebellion fronts, the MI, pati men, that we will work for a federal setup and maybe grant them the territories that they want and the kind of framework or governance that they expect with a reformation of all the things in the Philippines. If we do not act on it expeditiously, I think that we are headed for a trouble. We must continue to talk, and we will urge Congress to fast-track it because they are getting impatient. And I told them of the wages of how to negotiate peace. Sabi ko, sandali lang, but we will comply on our side what we have promised. That is a commitment, not even a promise, but commitment to the Moro people.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Akiko Suzuki of Asahi Shimbun. Miss, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening po.
Good evening.
I'm Akiko from the Asahi Shimbun.
Are you joining me to Japan now?
Yes, of course, I'm following you every time.
Okay.
Yes. On counter-terrorism, what was the lesson Philippine government learned after the Marawi incident? And are there anything that you can share with Prime Minister Abe? Also, about the reconstruction of Marawi, what do you expect? What kind of support do you expect from Japan? Thank you.
I think the damage alone and the dimension of the destruction would tell Japan that we need their very best in their assistance. And I do not doubt that Japan can graciously give us the help that we of course we do not expect that Japan would solve all the problems for us, but I would see significant assistance considering, I said, the dimension of the destruction. I am hopeful that we can improve on these things periodically because we need really to rehabilitate Marawi. The failure to rehabilitate Marawi could have grave consequences for Mindanao and for the entire country.
Can I have one more?
No, ma'am?
Thank you.
Yes, for Japan, because I'm going there.
Sorry, it's about U.S. You're expecting to meet, have bilateral talks with President Trump soon in November. And as
Yes.
you know, Prime Minister Abe is a good friend of Mr. Trump.
Yes.
Are you planning to ask any secret or, how to deal with Mr. Trump and, how to, make friends with Mr. Trump?
I would deal with President Trump in the most righteous way. Welcome him as an important leader. As a matter of fact, the important leader on this side of the planet. And I would have to also listen to him, what he has to say. My responses would be calibrating of what he would ask me. But as a friend, I have not met him personally, but I see that I have noticed that we move our mouths in the same cadence. No? For example, like declaring a national emergency regarding the drug issue. But these are on the level of a societal problem. It's not a problem of law and order. There are no warlords there. Maybe illegal handguns, very few, far and in between. Not the kind of the drug problem that we have here, that including mayors and barangay captains are affected heavily. So it would be terrorism, cooperation between the two countries, the fight against drugs, and all of this, I said, expect to be dealing with him around these topics.
Thank you, sir.
And of course, I forgot, the main, the opening agenda would really be Korea. We are worried, all of us, that, Murphy's Law, if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. So that has always been a problem for us.
You want to talk that with Mr. Trump or Mr. Abe? Mr. Trump, or
Yeah,
both maybe.
Yes, I'm sure that we can agree, the three of us. I have talked to Trump over the electronic waves. I have personally talked to Minister Abe. So I said that a lot of those things would occupy a good space of our meetings.
Thank you, sir.
Sino pa?
David Santos, CNN. Kung
Parang naubos na ang kalaban, ah. Pwede ikaw?
meron pa pong isa, hahabol mamaya.
Si Regalado.
Miss Regalado after David.
Sir, mayong gabi, sir. David Santos po, sir. Mayor, now that the Marawi crisis has ended, no, and moving forward, of course, as you mentioned earlier, there are many lessons to be learned. And there are sectors now, cost-oriented groups, as well as some residents, calling, siguro as part of the closure for this, to call for a deeper probe, a congressional probe perhaps, to look into what really happened, why it happened, and the government's response. Your reaction, or your thoughts on this po muna, Mayor?
Well, I can only answer you in the sphere of my environment. And it would be the executive department and for the armed forces and the police to study very carefully how it evolved and how to fight a new war. Because usually it is an urban terrorism, and you are up against concrete and iron. That's why it is a universal fact that in the Middle East took them 1 year, 2 years to do it. It's because there is always a high-rise building where you can position yourself comfortably while waiting for the kill. And I said in penetrating a lot of almost indestructible cover. Yan ang bago. On the side of the civilian sector, it's always, I said Monday after I shall have talked to the cabinet, Secretary Roque would for you. We are about to do something in the faster alley.
My second question po, Mayor. Well, some residents, perhaps overwhelmed by the devastation as a result of this 5-month conflict, are floating the idea again, with emphasis, some residents lang, Mayor, of suing the government, of filing a class suit against the government, supposedly for converting the city into a wasteland as a result of this fighting. Your thoughts on this?
Yes, it's well within the rights to do that. I agree with you that if you have a gripe and you think that justice should be done, and if you think that the Philippine courts should be prejudiced or biased, they can always go to the International Criminal Court. But let me answer you here and now that I declared martial law to answer the challenges of the moment, and I take full legal, criminal, and civil liability. Ako yun. I hold myself solely responsible for what happened, including the things that the incidents the events that transpired. Sabi ko, I take full responsibility for all.
Thank you, Mayor. Salamat.
Mr. Regalado.
You'll be happy to see me in prison? Okay. So, no problem.
Sir, good evening po. Lately, there were changes in your, you replaced Secretary Abella with Secretary Roque, and then you also got, from the PNP, the war against drugs, it's already with PIDEA. What else could we expect from you in the next few days? Parang change of tack or something like that?
If you decide to join us, Ms. Regalado, that would complete the story for tonight.
Sir, Sorry,
Tatanong nyo, what else?
Okay, next. Okay, next question, sir. In the face of all, di ba ang dami may destabilization move from within and then from the outside dami. Could you just give us specifically, ano talaga ang mukha ng anong grupo who really wanted you out? Aside from politics, there's also, ano ba talaga, sir?
First, I think the lesson there is, the first group is me.
You want yourself out?
I would be happy to step down.
Then from the outside?
From the outside, no, the outside is really a dangerous world. Yeah. When you talk of the outside world, we are a strong nation, and we will build a more stronger armed forces and police. But the threat or the challenges or whatever warnings or cautions maybe is really terrorism and Korea. In another nuclear holocaust, I do not see any future for us because maybe a day after all are exploded, I may not see you anymore in this planet. Maybe in heaven. This is song, See You in Heaven. See you in heaven.
I'll call you in heaven na lang po, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Mayor, one more.
Yes.
Mr. Osamu Kobayashi of TV Asahi.
I'm TV Asahi, Osamu Kobayashi. Thank you very much, Mr.
Please meet you.
And now Japanese people interested in North Korean issue. So, Mr. President, what do you think about North Korean's long-range missile development? This is the first question. And the second question is, how is your impression of the Mr. Kim Jong-un, leader of the DPRK? These two questions.
Well, I said it's a nuclear war is totally unacceptable to everybody. And somebody has to talk to Kim Jong-un. I know that I have joined the echo for him to do just lower a bit your aggressiveness. But nobody really, well, all leaders agree that he is a dangerous man. You must remember that he is a leader of his people. Whether or not, whatever he proclaims himself to be, somebody has to talk to him. And the more that we go into the rhetorics, actually, it is also the favorite subject matter here in my country. Somebody has to go there. It would be good if America, Japan, Korea, and Mr. Kim Jong-un to talk and to convince him to sit down on a round table and just tell him that nobody is threatening him, that there will be no war, and that if you can just tone down or stand down, stop the threats, and that would be the same for America. It's just to assure him that nobody is after you. And America is not about ready to destroy a generation or a nation of people. That is not acceptable now, maybe in the past. So if somebody could just reach him out, talk to him and say something like, my friend, why don't you just join me in the table and we'll just talk about these things. And for America, Japan, Korea and all, including the Philippines, that they will guarantee that no threat in the offing, or there is no plan at all really to remove him, and he will just stay where you are right now. We can start with the talks and perhaps talk to him and say, in the meantime, we are not stopping you forcefully, but it would be good, it would go a long way if there is somebody whom you can talk to. And these are the countries that would make a difference. Nobody is talking to him. I don't know about China, but the one single country really that can calm him down, China. And the one country also threatened, together with Japan, of a nuclear war would be China, Japan, and South Korea, and the rest of the world.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
More? Surrender man lagi.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Salamat po.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the media.